In today's video, we are going to see how to pronounce ed endings correctly. These words can be adjectives like tired, depressed, closed, or interested, or verbs like changed, walked, invented, and washed. English learners often pronounce ed endings as ed, but they are never pronounced this way. So, if you are reading or talking in English, you should never pronounce ed endings as ed. Depending on the last letters of the words, there are 3 ways to pronounce these endings. The first ending we are going to see is id. The ed endings of these words is pronounced as id. Accepted, invented, avoided, planted, permitted, separated, protected, pretended, extended, and decorated. The infinitives of all of these verbs end in the sounds t or d. So, when the infinitive of a regular verb finishes in t or d, the ed ending is pronounced as id. Now we will read some more examples out loud to practice. Decided, invested, hunted, arrested, printed, repeated, respected, rested, started, created, prevented, represented, reported, resulted, invited, existed, shouted, suggested, etc. But be careful, because when we are looking for the last sound of the infinitive, we are looking for the last sound, not the last letter. For example, in hunt, it's easy because the last letter is T. But, for example, in decide, we don't pronounce the last E, so the last sound is D, decide. So, in this case, it is pronounced as id, hunted and decided. Another way to pronounce the ed ending is t, like the T sound. For example, announced, attacked, washed, watched, stopped, crossed, crashed, liked, looked, walked, or fixed. The infinitives of all of these verbs end in unvoiced sounds. An unvoiced sound is a sound that doesn't vibrate in your throat when you say it. It is possible to say these sounds without vibration in your throat. Sh, ch, k, f, p, x. I know it sounds strange, but it's important to know which ones are unvoiced sounds. That means that sh, ch, k, k, f, f, and p are unvoiced sounds. Because they are unvoiced sounds, the ed ending is pronounced as t. Now let's read some more examples out loud to practice. Asked, kissed, kicked, looked, laughed, brushed, matched, switched, missed, hoped, talked, practiced, dropped, baked, liked, and developed. And finally, another way to pronounce the ed ending is de. For example, played, planned, agreed, carried, loved, listened, filmed, lived, frightened, or appeared. The infinitives of all of these verbs end in voiced sounds. A voiced sound is a sound that vibrates in your throat when you say it. It is not possible to say these sounds without vibration in your throat. Vibration is necessary to say them. For example, m, n, l, y, r, j, w, z, and vowel sounds. Because they are voiced sounds, the ed ending is pronounced as d. For example, copied, arrived, happened, married, preferred, followed, signed, wondered, killed, stayed, rescued, lied, loved, changed, explained, robbed, hired, learned, or continued. Remember to be careful because we are looking for the last sound, not the last letter. For example, laugh. The last sound is f because the GH is pronounced as f, laugh. Because the last sound, which is f, is voiceless, the pronunciation of ed is t. So the past of laugh is laughed. Or notice, the last sound is s because the CE is pronounced as s. Because the last sound s is voiceless, the pronunciation is t. And finally, realize. The last sound is z because the s or the z are pronounced as z. Because the last sound is voiced, the pronunciation is d. Now let's practice. The main thing that I want you to remember from this video is that you never pronounce them as ed. Okay. Remember. R is voiced, so remembered. Brush. Sh is voiceless, so brushed. Open. N is voiced, so it's opened. Invited finishes in T, invited. Retire, R is voiced, so retired. Trust finishes in T, trusted. Invent finishes in T, invented. Meowed finish is in W, so meowed. Closed, the sound is Z, so it's voiced, closed. Promised, S is unvoiced, so promised. Rip, P is unvoiced, so ripped. Clean, N is voiced, cleaned. Sh is unvoiced, crashed. And finally, represent is with a T, so represented. If you have found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.